The roar of the crowd was deafening. Under the blinding lights of the Super Bowl, a player lifted the MVP trophy high above his head, a symbol of triumph, perseverance, and an unforgettable legacy. The cameras captured every second, flashing his name across screens worldwide. But what most fans didn't know was the real story behind his success. Just a few seasons earlier, this same player sat quietly on the bench, invisible to fans, ignored by coaches, and nearly forgotten by the league. No endorsements, no interviews, just endless games spent watching from the sidelines. He wasn't supposed to be here, but everything changed because of one simple act of kindness. A moment that didn't come from fame or fortune, but from someone who believed in him when no one else did. A few encouraging words, a gesture of support, and that was all it took to ignite a fire that had almost burned out. This isn't just a story about football. It's about how compassion, belief, and a single moment of kindness can turn a forgotten bench warmer into a living NFL legend. Because sometimes all it takes is one chance to change everything. The sidelines had become his home. Game after game, week after week, he sat on the cold metal bench, helmet in hand, watching as his teammates took the field. Every snap was a reminder of how far from greatness he seemed. Coaches walked past him without a second glance. His jersey never got dirty, and his name never appeared on the highlight reels. He was a bench warmer, an afterthought on a team chasing glory. Practice was no different. He rarely got meaningful reps, and when he did, it was only to fill space during drills. His job was to make the starters better, not to shine himself. His heart ached every time he watched younger players get the chances he never received. The frustration was suffocating. Doubt crept in like an unwelcome guest. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this dream wasn't meant for me. The pressure weighed on him, and quitting no longer seemed like a distant thought. It felt like the only option left. But then came an unexpected moment that changed everything. During a particularly grueling practice, while others mocked his lack of playing time, a veteran teammate approached him. This wasn't just any player. It was someone respected by the entire locker room. Without fanfare, without cameras, the veteran sat beside him on the bench. "You're better than you think," the veteran said quietly. "I've seen you work harder than half the guys on this field. Keep going, your time will come." It wasn't much, a few words, a gesture of kindness, but to him it meant everything. That small moment of belief lit a fire inside him. The next day, he arrived at practice before sunrise and stayed long after everyone else had left. He studied the playbook like it was his lifeline, determined to be ready when the moment finally arrived. He didn't know when, or if, that chance would ever come. But now, he had something stronger than doubt. He had hope. Hope can be a fragile thing, but sometimes it's all you need. After that quiet gesture from his veteran teammate, something shifted inside him. The self-doubt didn't vanish overnight, but now, every rep, every sprint, every painful drill had a new purpose. He wasn't just training to fill a spot on the bench anymore. He was preparing for the moment he had been waiting for his entire life. His routine changed drastically. While others rested after practice, he stayed behind, running extra routes alone on the field. Every drop of sweat, every aching muscle reminded him that he was closer to his shot than ever before. And then, the opportunity came out of nowhere. Mid-season, the team's starting wide receiver went down with an injury during a high-stakes game. The backup was also sidelined. Suddenly, with no other options left, the coach turned toward him. "You're up," the coach said, almost hesitantly. For a brief moment, the world seemed to stand still. This was it, the opportunity he had fought for, the one he had dreamed of through every lonely practice. His heart pounded as he lined up for his first snap. The crowd wasn't cheering for him yet, and his teammates weren't expecting anything spectacular. But he was ready. The first play was simple, a short slant route across the middle. The ball came his way fast, and instinct took over. He secured the catch, absorbed the hit, and earned a first down. The sideline buzzed with surprise. On the next drive, a deeper route was called. This time, he slipped past 2 defenders, caught the pass, and sprinted for another 20 yards. His teammates started patting him on the back, offering nods of approval. By the end of the game, he had tallied 5 catches for 85 yards. Nothing record-breaking, but enough to earn something he had never truly received before: respect. And as he walked off the field, that same veteran who had believed in him was waiting on the sideline. "Told you your time would come," the veteran said, smiling. It was just the beginning. Opportunities in the NFL don't come often, and when they do, you have to seize them with everything you've got. The next game was his first real test as a starter. The coaches weren't entirely convinced yet. To them, his previous performance was just a lucky break, a decent effort by a backup who happened to be in the right place at the right time. The media barely noticed him, and his name remained absent from post-game interviews. But in the locker room, something had changed. Teammates who once ignored him now offered nods of respect. The veteran who had given him those encouraging words clapped him on the back before kickoff. "Do it again," he said. And that's exactly what he planned to do. The pressure was immense. The opposing defense was tougher, faster, and more aggressive than anything he had faced before. Every play was a battle, and every snap was a chance to either rise or fall back into obscurity. But with every catch, his confidence grew. A quick slant turned into a 15-yard gain. A sideline route kept the drive alive on 3rd down. A contested catch in the red zone brought the crowd to its feet. By the 3rd quarter, it was clear he wasn't just filling in anymore. He was becoming essential to the team's success. The defining moment came late in the game. Down by 3 points with less than 2 minutes on the clock, the quarterback needed someone to trust for a game-saving play. And instead of looking to the usual stars, his eyes locked on the benchwarmer who had refused to quit. The play was called a deep post route. The ball was snapped. The defenders swarmed, the pocket collapsed, and the quarterback launched the ball downfield in a desperate attempt to salvage the game. And there he was, ready. He leapt into the air, arms outstretched, pulling the ball in despite tight coverage. First down. The stadium erupted as the offense rushed to the line. Moments later, they sealed the game with a touchdown. When the final whistle blew, there was no question he had arrived. His teammates surrounded him, chanting his name. No longer just a bench warmer, he had become a vital part of the team's future, and this was only the beginning of his legend. With every game, his confidence grew, and so did his legend. What started as a lucky break had now transformed into something much bigger, a breakout season no one could have predicted. Every week, the media shifted from ignoring him to praising him. Headlines began to appear. From benchwarmer to breakout star, the NFL's newest sensation. The underdog story that's taking the league by storm. Game after game, he delivered. Crucial 3rd down catches when the team needed them most. Explosive plays that shifted the momentum in their favor. Leadership off the field, mentoring younger players and setting an example for hard work and perseverance. But behind the highlight reels and growing fame, one memory stuck with him: the act of kindness that had sparked his rise. The words of that veteran teammate still echoed in his mind. "Your time will come." And now, his time had arrived. By the end of the regular season, his stats were staggering: 1,200 receiving yards, 12 touchdowns, countless game-winning plays. Fans voted him into the Pro Bowl, and commentators started whispering about MVP potential, an unthinkable achievement for someone who had started the year buried on the bench. But the ultimate test still lay ahead: the playoffs. The pressure intensified with every postseason game. Every opponent targeted him, double-teaming him, trying to erase his impact. But they couldn't stop what they didn't understand: hunger. The hunger of someone who had been counted out, underestimated, and overlooked for too long. He pushed through exhaustion, injury scares, and the crushing weight of expectation. Each victory brought them closer to the biggest stage of all, the Super Bowl. And when the team punched their ticket to the championship game, his role was clear. He wasn't just a part of the team anymore. He was the reason they were there. But for him, it wasn't just about winning a ring. It was about proving, once and for all, that one small act of kindness could change a life forever. Now, on football's biggest stage, he was ready to finish the story. The stage was set, the Super Bowl. Under the blinding lights and the weight of millions of expectations, he stood at the heart of the field. A player who had once been forgotten, now the key to his team's ultimate victory. The crowd roared, the cameras zoomed in, and every heartbeat felt like a drum echoing through the stadium. The game was brutal. Every play was a test of endurance. Every hit a reminder of how far he had come. The opposing defense, one of the league's best, doubled their efforts to stop him. But with every tackle, every catch, every yard gained, he proved why he belonged on this stage. The clock ticked down to the final seconds. His team trailed by 4 points. The world watched as the quarterback gathered his offense for one last drive. "This is your moment," the veteran teammate whispered, the same one who had once believed in him when no one else had. One final play, one final chance. The coach called a deep post route, the play designed for him. The quarterback snapped the ball and scanned the field. The defense collapsed the pocket, but the throw came anyway. A perfect spiral cutting through the tension in the air. He sprinted, heart racing, the world blurring around him. 2 defenders closed in, but he leapt higher than he ever had before. Time seemed to slow as his fingers wrapped around the ball. He crashed into the end zone, arms wrapped tightly around the ball as defenders piled on top of him. Touchdown. The stadium erupted. Fireworks lit up the sky. His teammates rushed the field, lifting him into the air as the final whistle blew. He wasn't just a benchwarmer anymore, he was a legend. As he stood on the podium, holding the Super Bowl MVP trophy, tears welled in his eyes. Reporters rushed in, asking for his thoughts. "This isn't just my victory," he said. "It belongs to the teammate who believed in me when no one else did. Sometimes all it takes is one act of kindness to change everything." His journey became more than a football story. It became a symbol of perseverance, belief, and the power of compassion. A benchwarmer no more, an NFL legend forever. If his journey inspired you, share this story with someone who needs a reminder to never give up. And don't forget to subscribe for more incredible NFL stories of triumph and resilience.